EULA is a legal contract between a user and the software publisher, that spells out the terms and conditions for using the software. Now, for example, whenever we install the software on our computers or desktops, then there is a link which says that I have to accept the terms and conditions of the software publisher, and those terms and conditions is what is the end user license agreement. Those agreements could talk about a number of different processes or thoughts that the publisher has in mind, which he would want you to comply with while you are using your software. Now, how end user license agreement works is that it can work in multiple formats. One of which could be that you can be expected to click an I accept button while installation. You can also be expected to open a shrink wrap software package or breaking of a seal. Now, all those instances, even if they are done physically, are also construed as that you are accepting the end user license agreement. Installing of an application, even using of an application which does not say, very clearly state that if they do have a terms and conditions clause, then if we use the application, even if it does not talk about I accept, we are bound to follow the terms and conditions that are there as part of the EULA. We can very clearly refuse to accept the terms and conditions of EULA, but then we cannot legally use the software as well. EULAs are legally binding. A number of influential courts have upheld the legalities of EULA, and therefore we have to enter into legal agreements when we accept their terms. There is no denial later on, and we cannot make those arguments that we did not go through the entire EULA from our own side, or that the permissions that they had asked for, the data that they would be seeking from our computers, or from the manner in which we use the internet, all those things, if we have accepted while we are using their product, then we have very clearly accepted the entire EULA in totality. EULA characteristics. EULAs can force you to agree on certain conditions, as we did say. It may require us to monitor the internet activity. So the software publisher can put any clause that he wishes to put in the EULA. In case the publisher wants that he would want to monitor the internet activity of the user while he is using the software of the software publisher, he can absolutely put it across in the EULA without any problems. And once the user starts or accepts that entire EULA, the entire internet activity of the user would be shared, and the sharing of computer resources, all those things can be put across in the agreement as well. EULAs can limit your ability to sue for damages. So in case the user of a software suffers from a damage or a loss in business while using the software of the software publisher, in case the EULA or the license agreement says that you cannot sue the publisher for any damage, we cannot do it irrespective of what the extent of those damages is to our particular case. EULA is, from a publisher's perspective, EULA is always drafted in such a manner so as to protect the interest of the licensor. It is not there to protect the interest of the licensee, because it is for the user to understand and see that the kind of damages, the kind of infringement actions, the kind of liabilities that the publisher takes on him, are they worth that attention or not. Following points can be considered in the agreement. There could be product specifications of what the product is all about. The EULA could talk about the kind of license which is being given. Is it a non-exclusive license, or it is an exclusive license? If it is non-exclusive, in which all territories the license is there, and so on and so forth. The EULA could also discuss and disclose information about the duration of the license, the grounds for termination, the legal jurisdiction in which, if there is a dispute, where would the jurisdiction be held. So in case if it is Microsoft, and if we suffer from a damage, or if we want to actually take any legal action for a wrong that has happened to us by using of the software of Microsoft, if the EULA says that all the disputes would be settled in Redmond, then we will obviously have to follow and abide by that jurisdiction and do the entire proceedings of the litigation in Redmond itself. Now, what does EULA typically contain? As we've already discussed, they contain all the licensing agreements. They talk about what kind of a license is being given to a user, how many machines can he work that license on, is it a multi-user license, is it a volume license, and so on and so forth. It also talks about the warranties, which is basically a disclaimer of a warranty stating that even if the software is most likely to work on the user's machine, there is no guarantee that the software would still work. So if it does not work, the user cannot take any legal action against the software publisher. What are the laws? The laws would typically be like where the jurisdiction of a dispute would be, what kind of arbitration would there be, if any, what kind of civil actions can we take, if any, what are the liability of the software publisher in case of any mishap that happens in case or in duration of the entire use of the software. What are the potential concerns for the EULA users? Now, it is extremely important for the EULA users to make sure that they read and go through the entire agreement very, very carefully, because there are certain software publishers that say that as part of the EULA agreement, they would be entitled to monitor the internet activity, or even sometimes personal information that we put in multiple forms or websites or social media. They can also be accessed, and then there can be no legal action that can be taken against the particular company. It is the liability of the user, and it is his responsibility to go through the entire agreement. The EULA users also allow software publisher or third parties to use computing resources. So this could be another agreement that could, another clause that could be a part of the EULA. It could also hold the user onto the terms relating to governing third-party softwares. Now, if the software product that we are using also uses another third-party software component internally, then the EULA of the major software publisher could make it compulsory for us to also accept the EULA of the third-party software component, which is a part of the software publisher that we are talking to directly as well. So it's extremely important for us to understand of what are the third-party components being used, and what are the EULAs of those respective third-party components, which are also available online or as part of that agreement itself. Therefore, the potential suggestions from our side would be that it is extremely important, especially for software companies which are using another set of software products. It's extremely important for them to read the EULA, because they will be using not one license but multiple licenses, maybe volume licenses, multi-user licenses on multiple machines. So it's extremely important for them to read the EULA before they install and use it. It is extremely important to consider who the software publisher is, what is the association that it has in the market with what kind of third-party component manufacturers, and so on and so forth. There are a lot of software publishers wherein while installation they allow or they want us to prompt for different firewalls that need to be talked as well. So if a software publisher typically wants us to accept and bypass a certain firewall prompt, and if we accept that, then any information that could come through that firewall which might not even relate to that software per se would also be something that we will be liable for, and not the software publisher. Potential concerns of EULA users, it is extremely important, especially for us, to make sure that the free softwares are taken care of. The EULAs are very, very well validated. Extremely important for us to scrutinize and evaluate any EULA that requires us to monitor online activity. It is also important for us to ensure that when we are evaluating the effect of a EULA on a security or privacy of a computer, we have to make sure that what is ethical for us, what is not ethical for us, and there are a lot of governing bodies, regulatory, non-regulatory bodies which govern the EULAs, and in case we do find out that there were some unethical clauses that were put in the license agreement, and then in that case they can also be reported to such bodies as well. I will now come directly to free and open source software and maybe speak for 5 minutes on this topic. Now, free software is